recording. And then towards sharing screen. Okay. All right, everybody see the screen okay?
Yes.
Can hear me all right?
Yes.
Rock and roll. Okay, so today's going to be kind of a quicker one, mostly housekeeping items that we're going to be covering. I don't have any admin representatives here this morning. It is possible that they decide to walk in after we start. That does happen. I'll open up the floor for them to talk with the team. So we're finally getting our new mattresses from Arjo, replacement mattresses. So this has kind of been a work in progress. We did get the bariatric bed. It's back in ICU C. It's pretty much where the bariatric bed is hanging out right now. If you haven't had a chance to see the bariatric bed or put hands on the bariatric bed, word of caution, it is powered, okay? And it will run your foot over and it will break your foot if you are not careful with it. And just like a car, it does not have a brain. And so it will not stop. And it goes pretty fast. Like it's designed so that if you have a ramp that you need to push a 400, 500-pound patient up, the assistive drive will be able to drive it up that ramp. So your foot is very easy thing for it to go up and over, and it is an extremely heavy bed. So word of caution, when you are moving it, you will want to use the assistive drive because it's big, bulky, and heavy. But you also want to be particularly cautious with this machine because it will not stop until you let go of the controls, and then the brakes will engage. So it is otherwise functions exactly the same as the other Arjo beds that we have in the majority of the patient rooms on the med-surg unit. So all of the controls on the side of the bed, the operation of the bed rails, and then also to raise, lower the bed, and things of that nature are all pretty much exactly the same. Raising and lowering the foot, raising the center, raising and lowering the bed. All the controls are pretty much the same. The primary difference is, and if you haven't actually done the expansion of the side and the foot, it's pretty easy, but it may be challenging for you the first time if you don't have somebody there that knows how to get to the handle. But it's got a mechanical handle underneath each of the side rails and underneath the foot of the bed. And then there are kind of inserts. So once you expand each side, there are inserts that slip in on each side and then slip in on the foot to expand the bed to a larger format, so that if you have a bariatric patient that needs that extra width, or maybe we have a patient that's like 6'7", 6'8", right, particularly tall. Normally what we would do would just be to take the foot of the bed off and their feet would overhang. Well, with this, you're able to add, I want to say it's like 6 to 8 inches of additional length to the bed. So it can be more comfortable for our particularly tall or particularly wide patients. So please use it. It is there for us to make taking care of a bariatric patient easier. They will fit into the bed easier. It has that powered assist so that if you do need to take them to CT or for an ultrasound or something like that, and the bed needs to leave the room, it is designed for that purpose. The big thing, other key thing about that bed is also to be careful with the inserts. They zip in, so there's a little fold over flap, and then it has a zip on it to zip it into the rest of the mattress. But when it's not in use, those unzip and they kind of just sit on the top of the mattress. I just don't want them to go missing. I don't want them to go missing. And they're big, they're bulky, but like most things in a hospital, things can grow legs and disappear. So at all times, please try and keep the inserts with the bed. So even if you aren't using it in the expanded format, let's say you take it to a room and you have a patient that you think is going to need that extra width. And then by the time you get there, you only find out that they need the extra length. And so you don't need the two side panels. You just need the ones on the end. Um, oh, let me- um, please keep those inserts with the bed and don't hide them in the closet if at all possible. I know they're big, they're bulky, they're in the way, but I just want to make sure they don't go missing. So, because when we do need them and we have to scramble to look for them, then we're going to have a problem. So, new mattresses will be here Tuesday next week. There's 17 of them. Okay. Um, this is going to be a somewhat involved task for our staff that is working on that day. The team that is delivering the mattresses will remove the old mattress and install the new mattress for us. So we don't have to do that portion. But what we will need to do is make sure that for the rooms that we do have patients in the room, we will need to make sure that they are up out of the bed in a chair when they're doing this delivery. So that way we can quickly swap those mattresses out. They are also going to be disposing of the old mattresses for us. So I want to try and get all of them changed on that day. So obviously the rooms that we don't have patients in, that's a quick, easy, one-for-one swap. The ones that we do have patients in, if we have a patient in there that is completely bedbound, what we'll need to do is either some kind of a combination of Hoyer action to briefly get them elevated and out of the way so they can come in and swap those mattresses really quickly. Otherwise, if we can get them up to a chair, that's even better. And the team, it let you into the meeting. Hold on, guys, 1 second. So the key thing is I just want to make sure that we can effectively get those swapped with minimal difficulty on that day, Tuesday, next week. I will be here, so I will be here to help run that process and assist with that process. And then we'll have new mattresses. So really excited that we finally get some new equipment in. Questions about that mattress swap? Cool. All right, moving on.
Sounds straightforward.
Housekeeping items. So Paycom. Kind of consistently, every time we get to payroll period, there is at least 3 to 4 people that are frantically trying to get a hold of me because their hours are either missing or they have punches that are messed up or they're missing their standby hours. And after 10 o'clock, I push everybody's stuff through. And so on Monday of payroll week, I'm done at 10. I cannot work with you to fix anything at that point. And so if there is anything that needs to be corrected last minute, now you have to contact HR over the phone, ask them to undo my approvals, make whatever changes that need to be made. So all of this torturous last minute, oh my God, my hours are screwed up, is easy to fix if you take care of it when I send out the emails every Friday. If you jump on there every Friday of every week, you get in there, you double check your hours, you know what days you work, You know what shifts you work during the week. You know if you were on standby or not. To get paid properly for the time that you spend, you have to make sure that your hours are in that time card. If there is not a punch on there or a PTO or an ESL or bereavement or whatever it might be, if it is not showing on your time card, you're not getting paid for that. So everything that you get paid for should be on that time card. There's not any other place that lives. Only lives on the time card. And so best recommendation, every Friday, jump on your time card and you take a look at your hours. Something looks wrong, that's when you reach out to me and you say, hey, one of these punches is messed up, or I'm missing my standby hours on this day. I need to get this fixed. Okay. Item 2 for Paycom stuff. If you're trying to put something into the system and you are not sure how to enter it, okay, there's 2 ways that you can go about doing that. Inside the Paycom app itself, there is a help section that will actually walk you through how to add a punch, how to change an allocation to say if you have standby hours, what to do to indicate that you're on standby, how to enter PTO, how to enter ESL, right? So there is an actual help function in there. They have PDFs and videos that they will walk you through those steps, okay? The other thing that you can do, reach out to me before you put the punch in and say, hey, I had standby on this day from this time to this time. I want to get these hours punched in, but I'm not sure what I need to do to make sure that it reflects that it was standby. Okay. I will walk you through how you need to put that punch in. I'll call you, we can FaceTime, whatever it might be. Just because once the punch goes in, it's a little bit of a pain to change it, right? Just makes it's just more steps is really all it is. Any punch that you have on your time card can be changed by you. You can edit any punch. It's just more steps, and it gets more confusing if it gets messed up initially. Okay. A lot of you've probably experienced that, right? So it's definitely one of these things where, if at all possible, do it right the first time, right? And if it does get messed up, reach out to me, preferably before payroll Monday. Okay. That way we can get it corrected, because after 10 o'clock on payroll Mondays, now you are beholden to typically Madison and HR to make those corrections. You have to call her, talk her through it, and then she's got to check with me to make sure that that's what you actually worked in. It just kind of turns into a mess. And ultimately, it potentially means that you don't get paid for those hours on that paycheck. And then now we're having to try and figure out how to get it added for your next check. You're missing out on money. So try and stay on top of it every Friday. Jump in there today. Jump in there, check your hours for this last week, make sure that everything looks correct. If it doesn't, you don't know how to fix it, either watch the videos, reach out to me, and I'll walk you through what you need to do. Believe it was this last meeting that we had, or the meeting prior, where we were talking about the signatures not displaying specifically for the pre-op checklist and informed consents. I had at that time told everybody, if you have something where you do an electronic signature with the patient, to print out whatever you had them sign. Chris Flores, the Chris in IT, was able to figure out how to fix this problem. And it has to do with some settings that he had to change on each computer to be able to view the signature. So the signatures were capturing, and on most of the machines, you could see the signature because the settings were already correct. But on some of the machines, the settings weren't correct and they couldn't see the signatures, even though they were there. So like if we printed the digital chart, those signatures would have shown up. Like if you went to medical records, they were there. So if you run into that problem, right? If you have a pre-op checklist or informed consent that you sign or something like that, and you get a call from surgery and they say, hey, we can't see this signature, and you know that you had it signed and that the patient signed, I want you to put in an IT work order. It's the computer that the person is trying to view the signature from, not your device that you inserted the signature on. It's the computer that the person's trying to view the signature from, that they need to go in and correct those settings. So if you encounter this, the person in surgery or whoever the person is that's trying to view that signature, they will need to have a work order for that computer to make the setting modifications. But we fixed it. Chris Flores fixed it. Okay. Wednesday was when we did super user training.
Mhm.
So on Wednesday, we did super user training, and pretty much every single person has come to me and said these new they're Honeywell scanners, but they look like Black & Decker, like screw guns, right? They're orange and black. Classic,
Home Depot.
yeah, classic Home Depot or Black & Decker colors, okay? So we call them Black & Decker scanners, all right? So when we were doing super user training, we found the Meditech representative figured out that there was an issue with how those scanners were programmed such that they wouldn't work with Meditech at that time. They've since been reprogrammed, and I don't know, they have not confirmed yet if that reprogramming will also work on the scanners that we're currently using on the floor with CPSI. IT is in the process of reprogramming those Black & Decker scanners that we're using on the floor. And I'm got my fingers crossed, hoping that it fixes the scanning issues that we've been running into with those. So it is possible that we have found a legitimate solution. But I don't know for sure yet. We haven't tested it. So it is in the process. But what I can say is that with Meditech, the new scanners will work for sure. So once we go through the Meditech transition, even if we aren't able to figure out a solution to the problem with them for CPSI, they will work for us for Meditech. So, and I'm couldn't be more happy about that because they are a significant upgrade from the current scanners that we have, both because they are effectively drop proof, right? And as pretty much all of you know, they are wireless, so you can pick them up and very easily drop them or push them off of your WOW or anything of that nature, and they can end up clattering on the floor and breaking. But they will work in Meditech. So looking forward to being able to utilize at that point in time. Sorry, I've got somebody that's trying to get into the meeting and just for whatever reason they can't get in. So med power training. So this is the similar to when you first started working here, you watched through the CPSI kind of computer training videos. Okay. We have the same computer training videos for Meditech. In order to get into that training, you have to access it through your work email. You can't access it from home. So you have to be on site, get into your work email. You're going to look for an email from this person, Kristen Donovan. Okay. And it will say, these are your MedPower login instructions. It will tell you what your username is on that page. It's not letting me. It will tell you what the username is on that page. And if you want to, you can forward that email to your personal email address and you can complete these videos from home. The content is a duration of 6 hours. It's extensive, but it will show you the basics of how to navigate in Meditech. The expectation is that all staff have watched through the MedPower training and completed it by the time we get to end user training, which is in June. Okay, middle of June. So we're coming up, we got about 30 days before this happens. Okay. So whether you do this on site because you would otherwise be on call, or you come in on a day that you're off and you come in and work on it here, or you choose to work on it at home. Regardless of when you are working on it, please clock in for the time that you are working on it. I will give you 6 hours worth of time because that's how long it takes to get through the videos. Okay. So whether you choose to do the work on it from home or come in and do it because you're going to be on call, it needs to be done. I am going to provide a list of staff that have not completed the MedPower training to the charge nurses for them to decide when they are putting people on call to not put someone on call so that they can come in and work on this. Okay. It is extremely important that every person makes it through this training, because by the time we get to end user training is going to kick off from the point that you already know how to get into Meditech, how to navigate, where to go, what to do, right? Because you've watched these videos. All right. So please get this done either on your off time at home or when you come in for a shift to work through it. Questions about MedPower training?
Super users, are we gonna have more extensive training as well too?
Yeah. There's more coming. If you get into your work email and you cannot find the email from this Kristen Donovan person, I need you to let me know. Laura Leroy in education is the person that I have to notify to get this added, to get you added so that you receive the access for MedPower. So if you get into your work email, you can't find the email from this lady, literally just search the last name Donovan and it should come right up. If you can't find it, I need you to let me know so that I can get with Laura Leroy so she can get it resent to you. Okay.
Keenan,
Yes.
after we do the online training, when we go into the actual training, what is the length of time of training in there? Is it like a day or what? Is there a time
There
set
will
on that?
be a duration, I believe, of 3 or 4 days that we will be doing end user training, and they are 8-hour days. So we will start at about 8 o'clock in the morning. We'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning on each of those days, and the training duration will go until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It kind of depends on how everyone on the team that's there on those days is progressing, at what point we take lunch, and how many breaks we take. If there's any technical issues, which we did run into some technical issues on Wednesday when we went through super user training, right? Hopefully we've worked out some of those technical issues by the time we get to end user training, but it's entirely possible that we run into a couple of hiccups. And that could potentially slow us down. So, but it should be about an 8-hour day for the actual end user training, and that's going to be over the course of 3 to 4 days.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Other questions? And then the last thing that I have, and then it's kind of, we got 30 minutes of open discussion if there's anything particular that anybody wants to talk about. I just want to make sure, so we had Nurses Week last week, and for Nurses Week, in addition to, I think we had Chipotle one day and Panda Express one day, there was also Stanley Cups that the administrative team put together for Nurses Week. I wanted to make sure that everybody that is an RN or LPN on our team was able to get one of these cups. So if you have not gotten one yet, please reach out to me. Just shoot me a text message and let me know, and I will make arrangements to get you one. Also, for hospital week, I still have a box. Probably got about 30 or so t-shirts left in it. If you haven't gotten a t-shirt yet for hospital week, I have one for you in my office. Okay. So same thing. I'm if you're working nights and you haven't gotten a shirt yet, obviously I'm not here in the middle of the night. The charge nurses definitely have approval to go in there and grab a shirt for you. Okay. So they did so last night. They were able to get pretty much everybody a shirt last night. And thank you to whoever went the extra mile and collapsed some of the cardboard boxes and also refolded all of the shirts and stacked them in size order. And so very much appreciative for that. It was
I'm gonna
definitely
give that credit to Talia because that was her.
okay. It was definitely a right mess, the way I left it. So thank you for rearranging that. But definitely, if you're a night shift person or if you really only work weekends, the charge nurses have permission to go into my office and get a shirt. Or I can set one out for you. Just text me and let me know that you haven't gotten one yet, and I will set one out for you to get. I'll leave it at the nurse's station with a sticky note or something on it for you. Other than that, that's all I have for today. So if there's anything particular topics that anybody wants to talk about or cover, we got 28 minutes. Otherwise, if nobody has anything, then we will call it early. And I don't have a pen.
Well, I would like to just say thank you to you and Steve and all the administrative staff that brought all that wonderful fun and stuff to Hospital Week and Nurses Week. I very appreciated it. It was a lot of fun.
As long as we have people like Amanda, who's our community relations person, and Steve and Z in the positions that they're in, I fully anticipate that we'll continue to see things like that happen for Hospital Week and Nurses Week next year and subsequent years in the future. Amanda, unlike myself, I'm sorry, I'm not a particularly bubbly, fun, organized events, do fun special things with balloons and flyers and streamers and all that stuff. Just not the kind of person I am. And I'm sorry that's not my forte, but I am thankful that we have people like Amanda here that are into those things. So as long as we have folks here like that, you can be rest assured that there will be further events in the future of that nature. And I will pass that along to them as well. Thank you, Noah.
I wanted to make a mention of Amanda because last night she was running her butt off trying to get everybody situated with food and stuff, and she stayed late. So definitely kudos to her.
Yeah, one of the big things that I get worried about because I've experienced this oftentimes at several other hospitals that I've worked at is that night shift always is forgotten when it comes to hospital week, nurses week. Anytime the administration team is like, hey, we're going to do this fun food thing. And, usually day shift is the only kind of benefactors for that. And I will have to say, I personally, I'm coming up on my first year here. I'm impressed with the effort that they put in and the extra time that they put in to make sure that every single person had an opportunity to participate or get food or, even just the fact that they were here, right? It means a lot. It means a lot to me because Trust me, I've worked at places where, you know, day shift gets this nice big fat spread with meals and all this stuff, and then night shift gets like a bowl of fruit. So I'm thankful. I'm definitely thankful that I can say that I work at a place now where the administrative team doesn't just think about the day shift. They go the extra mile and they try to make sure that night shift is included just as well. So
Thank you for pointing that out. I do want to say, because we kind of were talking about it last night, that um, I'm sorry, but we just don't feel like we have the opportunity to be involved in like the raffles and like the things like that, because those are all happening like at 1 in the afternoon while night shift is sleeping. So I wanted to mention like it would be nice to be able to have those kind of events a little later in the evening so that we're able to participate in those as well.
when when
Or
the physical therapy team did the slap hand thing this last week,
that was at what time was that?
I think they did it at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot
Which
of
is,
the I mean, it's not just, I mean, every year it's like that. So we were just talking of hoping to get more involvement where things happen a little later in the afternoon, so we have time to rest and then come and participate.
I will bring that back to them. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anything else that anybody wants to cover? All right, well, I
Wait,
will give
I
you
have
guys,
something to
oh,
say.
okay.
Could we cover cell phone usage during work hours?
Is that Fernie?
Yes.
Hey, Fernie, what specifically are you referring to?
I just feel like lately, like the aides have been on their phone a lot, and it's a little uncomfortable when you're working or when you have to delegate something. They're on FaceTime or on the phone.
So I will say that I want to say it was 2 weeks ago at the administrative management meeting, the usage of cell phones became a topic. And there is kind of a dichotomy from the admin team over the use of cell phones in the workplace, right? Um, and a lot of that is coming directly from Z, and it's not really my place to speak for him, but what I can say is that Z wants the staff that work here to be able to use their phones. He wants you guys to be able to make TikToks and Instagram posts. And obviously, these things are with the HIPAA constraint component, right? So making sure that when these things are being done, if pictures are being taken in the workplace or things of that nature, preferably it is being done off the unit, right? So like for Nurses Week last week, and I'd like to thank Erica and the day shift team for coming in, and they put up a balloon banner with some banners and Happy Nurses Week. Again, like I said, I'm not a very good party planner or organizer for those kinds of things. I'm pretty much the guy that like I'll bring the booze. Like that's about all I'm good for, right? So I'm thankful for them for doing that. And these are the kinds of things that Z wants to promote. He wants the image that we put out into the community that this is a fun place to work. So it's exactly why we don't have scrub requirements and why during holidays people are encouraged to wear holiday scrubs. It's why we're encouraged to dress up for Halloween, right? It's why we are encouraged to do things to try and make this a fun place to work. But that being said, and this is also my personal position, okay? I bring my cell phone to work every day, right? This last week, I spent a lot of time tracking the stock market, watching GameStop stuff. Okay. And it was distracting to me. And I noticed that. It took me about by day 2 to realize that, hey, I'm spending a little bit too much time on my phone and I'm not getting my work done the way that I should. Okay. I'm not perfect. I'm not Superman. I make mistakes too, right? And so the key thing to recognize, I'm not going to come out and banish cell phones and make you guys put them in your locker at the beginning of the shift and you know you're only allowed to check it at certain times of the day, right? There's an understanding here that if you are going to be on your phone doing things that are non-work related, ideally, in fact, the expectation is that your work is done and that your phone does not become a source of distraction pulling you away from your work. Okay. This is both a personal responsibility thing and it is going to be watched and tracked and monitored by your charge nurses as well. And if it becomes a problem for someone, if your serotonin and oxytocin hits and dopamine hits from being connected to your cell phone are a problem, I don't have a problem with revoking cell phone usage from an individual for a period of time, right? Um, because it's becoming a distraction, right? Um, that same concept isn't just about cell phones, right? If there is a person that's consistently not on the unit because they're off talking to someone else on a different unit for an excessive length of time, an hour, 2 hours that they're gone for, right? I would have the same approach or response. The same would go with if there was someone that was taking smoke breaks every 15 minutes, right? And they're nowhere to be found and their work's not getting done and their patients aren't being taken care of. Okay. So the push from the administrative side of things on cell phones is effectively that, yes, you are permitted to have it. But if it becomes a problem, I will revoke your privilege to be able to use it and have it on your shift. Okay. So, and I don't have a problem doing that. And if I revoke your privilege to have or use your cell phone on your shift and I catch you with it, I will have a write-up for you. And it could potentially lead to your termination, right? So don't let it become a problem, right? If I have to come and talk to you about it and I have to take your cell phone privilege away from you, right? I will do that. Absolutely. Um, I'm not going to tell you you have to leave it in your car, but you will have to leave it in your locker. If I see you with it on the floor, and the privilege been revoked, you're going to get written up, right? So that being said, as far as using it on the floor, it is an image thing. It's a customer service component as well. And so the natural inclination, just like if any one of us walked into a gas station, a restaurant, any other business in the community, and there was staff in that area that was too busy using their phone. Maybe it's the hostess before you're going to sit down at the restaurant, and they are just absolutely totally way too involved on TikTok. Well, it would probably piss you off, right? Clearly they have something more important going on, and it could potentially mean that you choose to go to a different restaurant because it's taken them 15 minutes to seat you because the hostess is too busy on their phone, right? So these are things that I want you to keep in mind. Okay, there will be more to come, but I'll talk about it later. But that's kind of the position that we're at on that. It's a moderate pressure point area.
Thank you.
Hopefully that was clear as mud. Anything else anybody wants to cover? All right, I will give you guys 15 minutes of your life back. Go enjoy your weekends. It's gonna be nice and warm. Get in a pool. I know today I'm making barbecue, so go have fun. Enjoy your time with your families, and see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Keenan.